episode of the Albino Rhino Beer Review. Today you have the Rhino and we're looking at a beer from the Innocente Brewing Company. This one actually makes me sad because it does not play on his name. It's not an innocent fling, it's not an innocent bystander, it's not an innocent uh, conscience, it's not an innocent until proven guilty, it's not a innocent encounter, it's not a what were the other, there's just so many of them. It's not a play on his name. This one is Innocente's Werk Avoidance. Now, Werk Avoidance is a patio session ale. It is a light ale with 34 IBU and 3.4% alcohol by volume. Nice, that's a real low ABV. Bottled on April Fool's Day. Touche, touche. So yeah, Werk Avoidance, and work is spelled WERK. So I'm going to guess that that you let Devin spell on this one. That's what I'm going to guess. Let's pop her open. Now 34 IBU, high IBU for the ABV. I mean, the only session ale I can think of that might have a higher IBU to ABV ratio might be Stay Classy, that I've drank personally. So yeah, nice little brassy color. Tiny white head. Can you create any more head? That is the question. Can you create head? Yeah, you can. Nice bright white head. Okay. You know what? All in all, this kind of smells like bystander, to be honest. You get a little bit of that mango, a little bit of that blood orange, tiny touch of lemon, tiny touch of just citrus in general, and again, just a tiny bit of graininess. Doesn't smell exactly the same as bystander. It smells similar though. It's more like a watered down version to me. I'm not getting I'm not getting some of the slight nuances. Like I could tell that there was a piff in bystander as well and all that. I'm not really getting that. I'm just kind of getting a watered down fruitiness. And a little bit of biscuitiness to it. Nice. Okay, so here is our patio session ale. Cheers. Okay. Very light bodied. It is a little thin. Very light bodied. Little thin, but I mean it's 3.4% alcohol. You could drink a shitload of these. Is it something I'd want to drink a shitload of? Myself personally? Probably not, to be honest with you. Not a bad beer, just there's no body, there's no substance to counteract the hops to me. I'm getting a tiny touch of malty sweetness up at the forefront, and then it kind of goes into like a soda watery middle, and then finishes bitter on the tongue, bitter on the back palate, piffy, very resiny, very oily. It just sits on the tongue. Ugh. Excuse me. Like, if Devin and Steve were here, could I sit out and enjoy a couple bottles of this with them? Sure, I could, but, would it be something I would normally pick myself to enjoy out on the patio? No, in all honesty, no. Being that Steve did learn a lot of his craft in the UK, I was hoping to get a bunch of good session milds out of them. And I mean, for those of you that want a session IPA that is more like an American IPA, more like a classic in-your-face hop bomb, this is probably going to be something you gravitate towards. I mean, this is probably the hoppiest. This is probably the hoppiest Ontario-made session pale ale that I've ever had. Even though it says session patio ale, it's a session pale ale. That's what it basically is. I still would for sure pick up Stay Classy above this, for sure. But this is a well-made beer. There's nothing wrong with it other than its flavor profile doesn't hit my taste palette all that well. I told you it smelt kind of like an Innocent Bystander, but the taste profile is kind of like a watered-down Conscience. Yeah, so the scent is watered-down Bystander, but palette-wise, watered-down Conscience, and Conscience isn't my thing. If I had a choice between his three mainstays, I would go. I would easily go the Bystander, then the Fling, then the Conscience, and the Conscience long after Bystander and long after Fling, and yeah, that's just the way it is. I love his dark beers. I don't like the hop profile on this one, and that's gonna happen every once in a while. But I think the 3.4 ABV does hurt it in that sense because there's nothing to it to counteract. There's no balancing points. It's a one-trick pony to me, but that's okay. This one-trick pony will sell because people want the trick that this pony has. This pony's trick is sought after, and that's all that matters in a retail standpoint. Just, is it a beer for me? No. What will I give it out of 10? I want to give it more because of its ABV, because I love beers at that ABV. And you know what, Steve? You really need to make some dark lights, some milds, some full-on session milds. Some you just have to do it, because I'm sure you could do it. Out of 10, I'll give it a... let's try and chug it and then we'll rate it. Cheers. Okay. Carbonation is a bit harsh if you chug it. If you're sipping on it, perfectly fine, but if you chug it, it's a bit harsh. Again, well-made beer, just doesn't fit my taste palette. I'll give it a 5.5 out of 10. Just not my thing. Sorry, Steve. Sorry, Devin. Sorry, group. You still have a lot of 10 out of 10s. You still have some of the best beers I've ever drank. But, just not my thing. If you are after a very light ABV, very hoppy session pale ale, go out and get some Werk Avoidance. If you're not, go out and get up one bottle of Werk Avoidance so that you can say you tried it. And if you're really not, still go out and get one bottle to try it. Steve's prices are amazing. They're so fair, it's not funny. So give it a shot. If you like it, you found something awesome that's at a good price. And if you don't like it, you lost out on $4 or $5. Who cares, right? Who cares in the scheme of things when you're trying new beers from good breweries? Thank you guys for watching. Bye-bye.